Hi, I'm Annabel Gray, and I'm going to walk through what we came up with this last milestone for the restructuring merge request effort. So we have some things between this issue and Mural and Figma, and it's kind of hard to figure out what the outcome of that was. So I've written down the three hypotheses that we established a few milestones ago in the workshop. They're here. And then underneath, I've just kind of added all of the general concepts that were discussed and worked on. Some of them have tangible design deliverable type things, and some are just ideas. I'm going to start though by walking through the design that I came up with in Figma, just because it kind of encompasses a few things. Oh, why can't I open it? Okay, how do I turn comments off? Okay, so this is the merge request, and I should preface this by saying this is the merge request page in its new format with the sidebar on the side and a slightly older version, but updated header with the branches up top. So half of the stuff that I wanted to work on for the restructure, I ended up putting into the beautification of the UI effort last milestone, and that was just a reshuffling of elements on the page that I believed were positive design updates, so they made it in, and that's why it looks like this. So the page doesn't look too different in this design. One concept that I was playing around with, and this had to do with the filtering hypothesis, was filtering out the comments. Within the GitLab project in particular, the comments get out of control with all of the metadata actions and the bot comments, and that is probably specific to GitLab, but it could be a problem for other teams. So in this example, I've got comments and reviews. I've got reviews as a separate concept now, which I'll get into later, but I think we'd probably also include commits in here. And this would be like the meat of the overview. Like this is where you're seeing your code reviews and comments, and whether or not it's been approved or changes have been requested, and whether or not that user added commits after the first review and that kind of stuff. And then the bot comments would be the the GitLab bot that's like, hey, you didn't add this label, or make sure you add a changelog entry. Here are some requested, or here are some code violations, or others like suggested reviewers and all that stuff. All the stuff that kind of clutters up what you really care about when you come to look at the merge request would go in that tab. Metadata actions would be so-and-so added a label, they added some time tracking, they changed the milestone. Again, and useful information, but not necessarily useful to see every time you come to the merge request page. And then all activity would just be a combination of all of them. And here I've also added these badges, which kind of pertains to this hypothesis. Differentiating new items will reduce the time for Sasha to find items that may require their attention. So figuring out what's new since you last looked at a merge request or an issue is a problem that has kind of plagued GitLab for a while, and it's a difficult problem to solve, but it would be really useful. And some different products like Slack have that little notification bar that's like, 5 new messages in these channels since you last opened the application. So this would be kind of like that. In this case, just pretend that 5 doesn't exist on the first one, but you see there's 12 here and 42 here. If you clicked on that and you saw them, actually just clicking on it would basically make that badge go away. So the badge appears with the number of new items, and as soon as you click on it, then it goes away. And then you come back to it. If there are new items since you last clicked, then that badge would reappear. And that's just kind of a quick and easy way to get some of that functionality in there. Other things that you see here are, this is an outline, kind of in the style of Google Docs, where you have like an agenda item, or if you have an agenda and you have headers, it shows all those headers on the side, and you can easily scroll and navigate between the different sections. So in this redesign, this sidebar is no longer fixed or sticky. It scrolls away. So if you're scrolling, it scrolls away just like this. But this would be the new like fixed sticky element, and it would dynamically update as the merge request evolved. So you would see like review from user 1, in this case would be Paul, and you would click on it and it would scroll right to that. And then if you wanted to know what the security findings were, you click on that and the page would scroll to that specific widget. And also you'll notice the widgets are at the bottom for a few reasons. One, it is in the same place every time. If you really want to know where the widgets are, you could just hit Command down or Control or whatever it is on your computer to scroll down to the bottom. It will never change depending on how many widgets there are or how long the description is, always at the bottom. And also, it kind of makes sense chronologically. You're looking at the merge request. You read the description, you might look at the metadata, you look at all of the reviews, you see that it's been approved, you see the pipeline is passed, pretend that's passing, you see that this is all good, okay, and then you merge here at the bottom. So yeah, that's another change about, I'm not sure which hypothesis that belongs to, but you know, I don't know if they all necessarily need to map directly to a hypothesis. And then other things have just been shifted, like these have been moved. I don't know if that's a good idea. But those are the two main sort of new features. Actually, that's not true. Backing it up, the review feature I mentioned earlier. So I also wanted to add reviews as a general concept, and this would be like review rounds. And each review would become its own its own singular object. So right now we have batch comments, but they're just literally batch comments where you post a bunch of comments and that's that. In this case, it would be like if you wanted to ask for someone's review, you might click a button that says request review. And you would type the message like, hi, can you please review this? As users usually do, if you're requesting reviews, they tend to write a message to maybe highlight some certain points or some questions that they have. And then that reviewer would come to it, see that box, click review, and then they would do their batch comment thing, review all the things. And then when they submitted it, it would attach it, it would combine with the original request into this lovely little review round. And it would also give maybe a little summary of what that review encompassed. So in this case, there's two suggestions, one nitpick, and one question. This has a few other things that I think are super cool. This depends on conventional comments also being built into the product. So in my head, I'm envisioning like if someone types nitpick, maybe it auto completes and it automatically becomes that conventional comment, and it will be added in that way to here. Maybe we could specify or make it configurable that certain conventional comments are blocking or non-blocking, rather than every thread or code comment being blocking on a merge request, which it currently is. We could say maybe only questions are blocking or something like that. And so that would have to be addressed and that would block the merge request, but nitpicks not blocking because they don't need to be. That's kind of the whole point of the phrase nitpick. And then if you expanded it, you could see, so this appears like this. And then if you expanded it, you would see all those files that were actually commented on with all those questions and stuff. And then you could also click on these that would maybe take you to the changes tab. I don't know about that one yet. So in this case, this lovely check mark means that this review has been addressed, and then it's been re-reviewed, and you can kind of link the two in some way that's not this ugly. So that's the review rounds concept in very broad strokes, but I do think it kind of belongs in this restructure because the MR feels a little bit incomplete to me without a proper review flow. I think that kind of, yeah, so if you go to the issue and read all of the other items that we've added here, you can kind of get a feel for what we were working on. In addition to the 3 hypotheses, one of the things that I've noticed a lot, and it's come up a lot in research and just general user feedback, is how cluttered it is. And this doesn't really pertain to a specific hypothesis other than Sasha, our persona, might find it easier to review if there's less clutter on the screen. So that was kind of the jumping off point where we decided to remove the sidebar, where we removed the branch widget, moved it to the top. I removed some fixed elements and just a general like cleaner look to the page so you can really focus on what you want to do, which is review the code. That doesn't necessarily belong to a hypothesis, but it's something that should probably be prioritized nevertheless. And then, yeah, this is the mural where we kind of looked at and explored quite a few concepts. And these are really interesting features that are like real features that will take a long time to design, research, and implement, but they're just taking that whole merge request experience to the next level. So also really cool and worth looking at. That's all. Sorry, this was so rambling.